Hello, good afternoon. I hope you're all well and enjoying your happy hump day. I hope for some of you it is indeed a happy hump day. Well, I hope for all of you it's a happy hump day. It's not for me, my husband's working away. Shame. All right, on that note, completely inappropriate note, if you are here, watch me live for the ad hoc Ask Me Anything. It's not really that ad hoc because obviously I told you about it yesterday. But yeah, if you're here, watch me live, give me a wee hashtag live in the comments, please. And if you're catching me on replay, give me a hashtag replay. I have a plethora of questions to get through, and I'm going to answer them all, and I'm also going to answer the ones that were posted on my Instagram live post last night. So I've already done them written, so if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see them in my stories. And if you're not on Instagram or you don't follow me, then get over there and follow me there at Team EMW. Come on, give me some love. Give me some love. Right, so obviously, so this started off as a Ask Me Anything About the Piss Off Perimenopause challenge, but in reality, it's absolutely anything goes, as I said, because I actually have no boundaries and will tell you anything that you ask. I like to think I maybe have some boundaries, not sure what they are yet. Okay, so I'm just going to jump straight in. As I'm going through, if you do have a question, add it into the comments and I'll try it and be as quick as I can and pick them up as we go. But I do have a hard cut off at 7:30. No, that's all right, 5:30. 5:30 because I've got to take Archie to rugby. So let's stick in, right? Who have we got? Hi Sarah, hi Helen, hi Helen. Hi Belinda. Have we got any more? I like welcoming people by name. The two Helens, they're two separate Helens. Both legends, actually. The legends of Helen. Almost like Helen of Troy 1 and 2. I don't know. Anyway, right. So, first question is from our lovely Lynn, who I think Lynn lives in Tenerife. She went to Tenerife for a short trip about 10 years ago and she's never come back. How dare you, Lynn? Anyway, she's asking, are perimenopause vitamins any good or not? Save your money. So some of them are going to be good and going to give everybody what they need. We don't tend to recommend a particular one pill's going to fix everything approach when we're working with clients, unless they've got something medical or some caveat means that they can't take any of these. We would normally recommend an omega-3 supplement, a magnesium supplement, a multivitamin, and a vitamin D. And you can get them. I used to spend quite a lot of money on mine from an online store, but actually I picked up omega-3 and magnesium in Savers of all places, and the dosage is really good and the price point was even better. So they're the ones that we would tend to recommend to our clients. So a normal vitamin, multivitamin is going to give you a range of things that you might need, including iron and calcium and vitamin C. A vitamin D you don't tend to get in a multivitamin, so a multivitamin. We also recommend a magnesium because it can help the vitamin D absorb properly, and also magnesium can help with recovery. Actually, some studies are showing that it can really help with the symptoms of perimenopause, like some of the achiness that you might get, or jittery legs, or just that general, oh, I'm done in. So it can help with that. Omega-3, just from a general brain power point of view, is really quite good, but some studies also showing that it is beneficial for fat loss. So they're what we take. Vitamin D, because we live in the UK and we don't have enough sun to help us thrive. If you live north of Birmingham, you need to double your dose of vitamin D. True story. Another question about strapless bras. Has anybody bought this weird bodysuit on Amazon? If any, God, can't even describe it. So it's like all-in-one with cups, and it's got a wee catch under the boob, like a normal bra would go in. It's got a big scoop round to the belly. I'm going to say no, I've never bought one of them, Lynn, and quite frankly, it looks awful uncomfortable. It's a thong bodysuit. I've got a very long torso, so that is going to give me thrush. No word of a lie. I can't even move the picture over to show everybody. I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to take one for the team here. That would give most people thrush. It's so small about the G area. I hate that G word, the under bit. Not going to say it. Makes me feel sick. Okay, so Gail is struggling to manage her carb intake with her protein intake, being told reducing carbs can help with weight loss, which she put on due to perimenopause. Being vegetarian, carbs always seem way over and protein is never on target. So reducing your carbs will only help with weight loss if you're in an overall calorie deficit. Okay, so that is the science. Your body uses your carbs are the primary energy source for your body. So we all need carbs. We all need carbs. As a society, well, as a generation, us women in this kind of 40 to 55-ish age range, we overconsume on carbs because it's easy. And it's easy access, it's cheap, it's tasty, so it's easy to consume lots and lots of carbs. So what I would always say to our clients is that instead of trying to cut carbs, because that automatically puts you in a negative vibe of, God, it's going to be really hard because I have to reduce things out, is that we want to focus on increasing other things. So increasing your protein, which we know you're struggling with, I'll get to that in a minute, increasing your fats, okay? Now, again, as a generation, as a culture, we have always veered away from fats because we've been told fat gives you fat, and that's not true at all. So we need good fat sources like avocados, olives, unsaturated fats, etc., etc. So oils, etc. So what I would suggest to you is that you implement a whey protein powder. That's not, so a lot of people go, I don't want to supplement that. It's not really a supplement, although you are supplementing your protein because it is made out of milk. It is technically a food in itself, but it's an easy way to increase your protein. So try implementing that. You're going to get an extra 20 to 30 grams of protein, depending on what brand you buy. And look at introducing a bit more fat to your diet. Now, bear in mind that fat, gram for gram, is more calories in it than a protein or a carb. So just be mindful of that. But calories are king. Calories are king. And reducing carbs will only help with weight loss if it's putting you in a calorie deficit. Okay, so that's why so many people, if they cut out carbs, they see a massive reduction on the scale. And that is actually not fat. That is just water weight, because when we consume carbs, all this stuff happens and all our cells in our body fill up with fluid, right? So because there's more volume in our cells, we're going to naturally weigh more. So when we take away those carbs and we take away that volume of fluid in our cells, we're going to weigh less on the scales, okay? So that's why you might see a massive difference in the scales when you cut out carbs. It's nothing to do with body fat. It is fluid, okay? You will lose body fat if you're overall in a calorie deficit. Hope that helps, Gail. Young Helen is asking, my fitness pal keeps mentioning that I'm under or over my targets for carbs, sugar and protein. I don't remember putting it in. How do I know if those levels are correct? Should I be working them out specific levels to aim for? I aim for 33. Yes. I think my fitness pal has changed. So you are right in thinking that we want your macros to all be in the 30s. It doesn't matter if it will just balance out. Your main concern is going to be your calories and your protein at this stage. But try and aim for everything in the 30s. Now, if you go into my fitness pal and go into settings, there is an area for goals, but I don't know if this is only accessible to premium users or if it's part of the freebie one. I do know that there has been a lot of changes introduced of what is available to the free users of MyFitnessPal. But in there, you can either input, if you're definitely on premium, you can input it as a percentage or as a gram. So have a look, go to settings and goals, and it's the same place that you put your calorie goal in. Hope that helps. Louise Chapman, you did ask before about decent fitness trackers. Yeah, we covered that off in our last Ask Us Anything, which was in the last Friday of August. We actually quite a big topic about it. But anyway, just to let you know that yes, there are loads of them on Amazon. And it is, yeah, there's loads you can get for about the 20-30 pound mark. And even if you go into Smith's, well, our Smith's, and I don't know, I don't think you can be bothered to travel up to Kilmarnock Smith, but anyway, our Smiths have a really decent one. It's aimed at kids, but it's not particularly, it doesn't have Spider-Man on it or anything like that. Um, and it looked pretty good as being quite basic, but just doing what you needed to do in terms of steps, maybe heart rate, maybe sleep. I can't remember if it did that, but have a look there. So that was about 10 minutes. Timestamp live. Hopefully you picked this up, Louise. So that was what we had there. I had another question about will the piss off perimenopause challenge work for me? Now that is a big question, and I can only give you a bit of a generic answer. So I can't make you do the things that we're going to ask, and I can't make you implement anything that you don't want to implement. Okay. So what I can do as part of a challenge is motivate, I can give advice, and I can give recommendations, and I can educate. You as an individual is ultimately responsible for carrying out the things that I say. That said, we have had countless women. Now, I might have some reviews, but since my Facebook account got hacked, I don't have that page anymore. But we've had countless women over the years. So this is the first challenge of this that I've done. But going back last year, for 3 years, I ran 5-day challenges, which were called something for smart girls. Can't remember. But we had countless women come back to us after a few months. They never became a client. They did the challenge and then they ran off into the sunset, and they came back to us a couple of months later saying, oh my God, thanks to the advice that you've given me, I have lost 1.5 stone, or I've lost 2 stone, or there's one girl, and I think she's still in the group, who went on to become a bloody bodybuilder because of the work that she'd done in a challenge, right? So we have lots of evidence to suggest that these challenges are hugely motivational, because I'm trying to take away this myth that it's so hard to lose weight in your 40s. We've made it hard by believing the hype of all these crazy things that are overly restrictive and really hard going, like thinking of keto and things that are not sustainable long term. And it doesn't need to be that way. So that's why I've put together the 4-day challenge, and why I've put together the 10-week confident body method, which is my new program, new group coaching program. So yes, you can do the challenge. You can put in as much or as little effort as you choose to. But if you want to win a prize, you're going to have to do the things I ask. I think that's fair. Right. Okay. I think I've got all the Facebook questions down. And now I'm going to move on to the Instagram questions. So I'm going to start with the easy ones. How old am I? So I did say I'm 27, and then went, no one's actually going to believe that. So I'm 44. I was 44 in last month, less than a month ago. And I think I'm going to stop at 44. I feel that 45, not into that vibe at all. I think we'll just stick with 44. What's your thoughts, girls? Should we all just stick with 44? Does it get better? Does it get worse? For those of you that are over 44, let me know. Okay, and the next one, my favourite food. I have so many favourite foods. So I am, what did I put this in? Cheese, steak, eggs, which Clara will mock me for the rest of my days about. Apples, mushrooms, shellfish, other fish, fish, spinach, cheese. Love cheese. And I could easily eat cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which I don't. I tend to restrict myself to a proper, like when I say proper cheese board, I mean proper cheese board. And every Christmas Eve, favourite day of the year, we have a chippy, we have champagne, and we have a cheese board, and they are my thing. Well, I obviously shared them amongst the family, not the champagne to Archie, he's only 10. And then Christmas Day, I tend to feel utterly shit, and my guts are in ruin because I've had so much fat, so much fat. But anyway, yeah, I love cheese. Okay, so next question up, we had can't get rid of my tummy fat. Any ideas? So, tummy fat is really getting more tummy fat is really common as we get older. Now, obviously, we've all got fat around our tummies. But as we get older, we tend to start storing fat more round our belly. Oh God, Lynn, that's amazing. If you can't see the comments, Lynn's just had brie with honey for her snack. Oh, so raging. I had a Cadbury's mini roll and a pear. You win. So tummy fat, yeah, as our hormones change, basically the hormones tell us to store fat around our tummies, triceps, basically where we don't want it, and for most women it's where we've never stored fat before. So that's a hormonal shift, but also we've got the metabolic shift. So basically our metabolism slows down, which means it's harder to lose fat without making adjustments, and it's easier to gain fat. So they're the two main components, and it's shit that it happens at the same time. And I was like, oh, we're going to get to 38 and then all these mad things are going to start happening to you. And yeah, we're going to just, it's a perfect storm. So yeah, the only way of losing the fat around any part of your body is through a calorie deficit. Adding in resistance training is going to make the area tighter because you're going to have more. Gaina, you made it! I hope you've just finished your own live, and I couldn't come on because I was just preparing for mine. I was like, I can't go on because I'll go in this rabbit hole. So I hope your live went well, Gaina. So if we're having the combination of dropping body fat but also growing our muscle mass, that's what's going to give us that tighter look and feel. We might call it toning, we might call it definition, we might call it ripped, whatever. So that's the only way to get rid of that tummy. Now, I get asked frequently, get asked this actually, what exercises can I do to get rid of the fat tummy? And there's none really, because we can't spot reduce fat from specific areas. Actually, if we've got a bit of a tummy and we don't change our nutrition, we don't do anything other than like do hundreds of sit-ups and tummy exercises, we're actually going to make the area look bigger because we're ultimately growing muscle and the fat is over the top, so it's just going to get bigger. So it's all about calorie deficit, resistance training, making sure you're getting enough protein and hydration and all these things. Okay, and I know everybody wants not that answer. I'm sorry you don't want that answer, but that's the truth. And no matter if you go into Instagram or you're on Facebook later on tonight and it says to you, eat this one food to get rid of your belly fat, or do this 8-day diet detox to get rid of your belly fat, it's not going to work, and it's just going to cost you a shit ton of money. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Okay, next question. I want to lift weights, but I don't know where to start. So this actually inspired me to create something new, and I'm in the middle of creating 4 different things just now, so it won't be anytime soon. But basically, first of all, you freaking legend for wanting to start lifting weights. There's not many people that hate it once they start, but if you're there's loads of videos on YouTube about how to do things properly. But if you're a complete beginner, I would always recommend either joining a gym and getting a couple of sessions with a personal trainer to make sure that they're teaching you the right cues, because cues differ from person to person. So you might get a cue from somebody online and not have any idea what that actually means. But if you've got it for personal training and go, what are you talking about? Then they can then give you something else that would make more sense. So like, for example, for a deadlift, some people respond really well to the cue of push the floor away. So instead of trying to stand up with the barbell, push the floor away with your feet. Some people don't respond to that. Some people respond better to nudge the car door closed with your bum. So there's different things that work for different people. So I'd always recommend either join a gym, get a couple of PT sessions. A lot of the budget gyms do induction sessions where they'll give you some of the instruction for free. Um, so have a nosy. I don't particularly have any recommendations of online ones just because I think if you're a beginner, then it's always best to do that in person because it's such like everybody's body is different. And if you're a short person with short legs like me, a deadlift is going to be easier than somebody that's 5'7" with really long legs and whatnot. So it's important that a professional has a look at you doing things and making sure that you're not going to hurt, get injured, and give you an idea of what you should be looking at for the goals that you want to reach. All right, so I hope that helps. And the final one was, hi Sarah Berloth. Sarah, I am totally intrigued how this came about, that you managed to get to talking to somebody in Sainsbury's about the challenge. Totally intrigued. Oh yeah, another one. Why can't I lose weight? Age 45, no diet works. Right, so I actually said diet schmiet, but I don't know if that came across well on Instagram. But basically, too many short-term diets are ultimately going to damage your success, but it's not irreversible. So basically, if you're constantly in this roller coaster of diet, then subconsciously you're now setting yourself up for failure because you've got no evidence to prove that any of these short-term things actually are going to work for you. So you're kind of subconsciously going, just going to try this because so-and-so's doing it or so-and-so's doing it. So the trick here is to start shifting your mind to being a lot more of a long-term gain. And moving away from the I must lose X amount per week, because we can't control that, but we can control what we do. We can control our consistency, we can control our habits, we can control portion sizes, etc., etc. So start thinking about small things that we can do, that we can add in. And this goes back to my comment previously where I said we always want to talk about adding more rather than cutting things out, because the minute we start restricting ourselves, that starts the dieting cycle. And if you come to my masterclass at the end of the challenge, actually I'll show you that diet cycle about how we start a diet, but there's all these internal things going on that basically impacts our hormones, that then impacts cravings, that then creates guilt, and it's vast. Anyway, so creating consistency, adding in small things that you can do consistently well, like water, steps, calorie tracking, protein. There's 101 things that we can do, and what works for you might not work for someone else, but when you've got the right process and the right plan and the right accountability and the right support, then it will all come together. It's what I find is that women have had so much of their confidence knocked by doing all these diets that they don't actually trust that there is a right way that can work for them. And that's really hard to overcome. It's really hard for me to. This is why probably the source of my highest and lowest emotions with our clients is that I can say till I'm blue in the face. This is different because it works. We've got such a huge success rate. And the reason why that is because we do things this way, that there's just such a lack of trust. Because people are used to, oh, there's your detox plan, do this for 30 quid. And then it doesn't work. You're like, oh, well, that's why. So that was the final question. Did I have any other questions about piss off perimenopause? Pop. If you need to watch the bonus videos before we start. The bonus videos get emailed out. There'll be a couple of days. I think it's 2 days after you have requested to join the group. We've got this magical sequence thing, so you need to watch the bonus videos before you join if possible. And if you are set to join, remember we're not opening the group until Sunday, and then on Sunday night at 7 o'clock we're going to have a bit of a lunch party. I'm definitely going to bring gin just to make you feel all at ease. You can bring gin if you want. It's going to be fun. It's only going to be about half an hour, but I'll take you through the logistics of how things are going to work and what to look out for in your times and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's it. Now I just wanted to check this wee bit here. Okay. Cool. Okay. Do we have any other questions? No, I don't think we do. No questions. It's a quiet one tonight, ladies. I take it you're all absolutely crushing your goals. If we've got no questions, everybody's nailing it. Nailing it. If you are fantabulous, and if you're not, what's in the way? What's in the way? Because once we know what's in the way, it means that we can get our TNT out and blow it up. So that means. All righty. Okay. Well, thank you, my loves, for your questions, and thank you for showing up as always. I will speak to you all in the group at some point later on this week. I hope you all have a tremendous one, and if you've got any questions for me, let me know. All right, I'll speak to you later. Bye 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 bye.